Hi, I'm Katrina Miller and I'm here today with Douglas Chalmers, one of my colleagues who's standing for Vice President of UCU. Douglas, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm a senior lecturer in media and journalism, and I've been working in the sector for, well, it must be about 20 years now. I'm an active researcher as well, so at a university level I take part in things like the REF. I do quite a bit of teaching. I have some time bought out as I'm the current president, Scottish president of UCU, and in that capacity I represent the UCU with the Scottish Government at the NEC at different possible venues.
And what would you say is your vision for the UCU?
Well, I think the union in general does a fantastic job defending our members' wages, conditions and rights. I'm an active caseworker, and as anyone who's involved in casework knows, the difference you can make, using the power of the union to make sure that management doesn't overreach itself, micromanage, or even try to put people out the door, which they do far too often. So I think we do a great job. We also represent the union at a governmental level, to the public, to the media, and in general, that's great. But where I think we fall down is the fact that we have a new generation, in fact it's several generations of younger people who in the post-Thatcherite period come to work and don't see the union as the normal thing to do. When I joined the university 20 years ago, then the first thing I did was, I'm in the university, what union do I join, and so on. So I think we've got to make unions something that people see as part of their community. In fact, I want unions to be campaigning communities which are as diverse or represent interests as diverse as our members are. That means we need particularly to look at where we're underrepresented. I think postgraduate researchers, for instance, we don't have enough. We don't do enough for them. We try and do it locally. That's why I'm aware of it. But also there are other underrepresented areas. There are early career researchers, lots of things. I think also we need to make union life better. I'm fed up of I've had lots of experience, put it this way, of going to committee meetings, branch meetings. I'm not particularly looking at this at this establishment here, but where it's a minority, tends to be male, tends to be older. I think we've got to have our branch meetings lively and as representative of our members as our membership is, and similarly with committees.
Some people might be wondering why the union isn't growing at a faster rate. What do you think is stopping people from joining?
Well, actually it is growing in some places. In Scotland, I think we've managed the slow battle to turn the union round. I think this is because we have a vision of the union being a diverse, or a body which defends rights and conditions, but also tries to set the agenda for change, for educational output and the like. In Scotland, as you may know, we've had some fantastic successes in changing the whole governance of universities. Now trade unions will be on governing bodies and so on. So that's because I think we take the initiative. It's like acting as a political organisation, but with a small p. So I think if we do that, and also I think involvement is the key thing. If people join the union and feel, yes, it's the right thing to do, it's the sort of body that gives them support, and then they'll come along, then they'll take part in decisions about activity, and then in the activity itself.
So Douglas, you associate yourself with the independent broad left, politically speaking. Could you explain a little bit about what that is and how you would describe or characterise your own politics?
Well, I think many activists identify with the left in general, and I certainly do. I have done all my life, although I know we represent a much wider swathe of opinion. Now, the independent broad left was set up some time ago as an antidote, I think, to what's mistakenly known as the UCU left. Many members will be aware of it. When I joined the union, I thought it was a very, very interesting organisation. But the problem with the word left is it can mean many things. And the problem with the UCU left, and why the independent broad left was set up with the stress on independent, was that it was essentially set up by the Socialist Workers' Party in order to work in the UCU. If I just quote one of their pre-Congress documents, they talk about, this is the SWP. The UCU left has just been formed, a rank-and-file organisation uniting SWP members with non-SWP activists from the two former unions, NAPFI and AUT. And they go on to talk about the sphere of battle inside the union where many of the best activists operate. They say we need a strategy that operates from the rank and file up to the leading bodies of the union. We've had a number of successes in union elections, but these raise new challenges. Every comrade elected to a union post is accountable firstly to the party caucus and the SWP generally. I don't think that's right, and I'm on the left, but I'm afraid these politics for me are regressive, not progressive. They are an external body pushing in. Now I know I have some good comrades who associate themselves with the UCU left, but this is why I stress independent. And the independent broad left doesn't have a membership list. It's a network of people with broadly similar ideas, but the independence of the union, so we act on our own interests and not the interests of an outside political party, I think is very, very important.
What are your views on Brexit?
Well, I was an active campaigner to remain in the European Union, and since then I've campaigned for the terrible effects to be lessened as much as possible. Again, a difference with the SWP, my opponent was a campaigner to leave the European Union. I think that is bad. Since we've left, it's put us in a real problem. We're really hit badly in terms of the effect on research staff and on staff in general. We argue in the UCU, as everyone knows, for indefinite leave to remain of European Union staff. For funding in Scotland, we've campaigned and managed to achieve that European Union students don't get charged fees, just as Scottish domiciled students don't get charged fees. We want to keep an open door for European students, for European staff, including researchers, and vice versa, so that research and learning and teaching is an international thing. And we think leaving the European Union, no matter how you cloak that in UCU left or SWP positions, I think it's fundamentally wrong. So my position is, I'm a European, I'm Scottish, I live in the UK, and I'll campaign for that wider approach.
You're from the HE sector, Douglas. Are there any issues you'd like to discuss around FE?
Yes, definitely. Our colleagues of course, the Vice President, who then becomes President, represents both sectors and also prison educators and so on. So it's very important that both, all sectors of the union are given equal treatment and equal support. FE has been decimated in Scotland in terms of the centralisation that the Scottish Government has carried out, which have meant women in particular cannot get access. Older students, again, it's difficult to get access because of the centralisation. Now, we don't organise in FE in Scotland, but I take part in the discussions at the NEC, and I'm aware. I recently talked to the Further Education Committee in Wales. I'm aware of some of the issues. In England, I think the area reviews have not been done in the interest of the staff or of the students, and indeed of the community. So the ideas of the activity, the bargaining plus, or the local plus, I think it's called, where local demands are put as well as the national framework, I think is very, very important. FE is being used too much as a ideological tool by the government. We need a strong FE sector linked to universities, of course, so that the post-16 education sector is the type of area that will give what our country needs, what our staff needs and what our students need.
Thanks very much, Douglas.